Hello, welcome to the Fun Kids Bookworms podcast. My name is Bex and I love books, and today, well, it's a rather big one actually. We've got two celebrity superstar authors for you. On the way, we're going to be talking to Dermot O'Leary about his new book, Spy Fox and Agent Feathers. But first, it's Anton Du Beke. Now, you might know him from Strictly Come Dancing. We're going to talk right now about his brand new book set in World War II. It's called Code Name Foxtrot. Let's find out more. I'm joined right now by presenter, dancer and author Anton Du Beke. Hey Anton, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me on. It's lovely to be on with you.
Now, I loved Code Name Foxtrot. I literally, I'll be honest, I read it in one sitting. I was all in immediately.
Tremendous.
I had the best time with it. Can you tell us where we are in the world and what era we are as well?
Well, the book is set in 1940 and we start off in London at a little Mayfair tea room. But because it's 1940 and the sort of stars of the show, really, Harry and Rosie, are twins. They're 10-year-old twins. And they get evacuated from London up to the northwest of England, just south of Blackpool, to a fictional place called Cotterell Cove, right on the sea there. And they get sent up to the Uncle Rupert, so mum's sort of distant uncle, or distant cousin, so their uncle. And it's Uncle Rupert. And he's a bit of a grump and a bit of a loner. He doesn't like small people very much, children, and he doesn't do all that. So he's a bit grumpy about it, but he's sort of doing his bit. So he doesn't want to see him, he doesn't want to hear him, and don't raid the larder because there's rationing going on. And so it's that. So they're left to their own devices, rather, but they have to go to school. But the thing that really got me about my first thought with the book was I had this image of a man walking on water, like a silhouette of a man walking on water in the dark. So the idea was Harry was up in the bedroom looking out of his bedroom window, and he spots this silhouette, this image of a man walking on water. Now, this can't be right. People can't walk on water. And so he tells Rosie about it, and she's a bit more sensible than Harry, and she's a bit of a code breaker, actually. That's her thing. She loves codes. And they both like to explore, but he's a bit more sort of, he'll dash off and do something a bit more sort of spontaneous in that regard. And he wants to go and explore. She talks him out of it. You're imagining it. And, well, things transpire that aren't what they seem, and the adventure begins. But the whole thing is an adventure story, really, and people aren't what they seem, and it's all of that, really. And I love that sort of children's book. I remember it from when I was young, reading sort of Enid Blyton books, really, Famous Five, and let's go to an adventure. Let's have an adventure. Adventures on Kirin Cove or Kirin Island, or whatever it's called. Those sorts of, off you go on a boat, sail across, have a look around, suddenly you see. So, I love all that stuff. And that was really my twins, that sort of adventure story from my youth, and the idea of a man walking on water is really the sort of inspiration for the book, really.
I mean, oh my goodness, there was so much to keep me going in this book as well, because yes, you've got the adventure and you've got the mystery around it. You've got the family relationships, and you've got the twins are missing London and they talk about their kind of past life in the tea room. You've also got a big dance competition, Anton. We need to talk about this dance competition as well.
Yeah. Well, because everybody all over the country, people are doing things for the war effort, trying to raise money. There's a big competition at Blackpool at the Winter Gardens, and everybody's got to send a sort of representative of their town, village, city. So there's sort of an internal competition in where you are. So in Cotterell Cove, all the sort of youngsters in that particular age group, they all dance against each other, and then two couples get chosen to represent Cotterell Cove at the big finals in Blackpool. And then they go up to Blackpool to dance in this big competition. And, well, it's terribly, terribly exciting, because I remember that from when I first started competing. I did a big competition once, and I had to sort of qualify, if you like, in a regional competition, which I won. And then I went up to Blackpool to dance in the big finals. And that was for the dance school I belonged to. And that was quite a thing.
We've also got two excellent characters who I love. You've got Griff and Caro, who we meet in the village. And Caro made me laugh out loud. And Griff, I was like, there's so much more to this person. I can feel that he wants to dance, right? He just wants to be in the room.
Well, I don't want to be a spoiler, but it's that whole peer pressure thing as well. I wanted to get a sense of that, certainly for boys. And the reason they don't dance is not because they don't really want to dance. It's invariably, I mean, I remember it growing up, it's peer pressure, whether it's from family, your dad maybe doesn't want your son to dance idiotically, or it's mates at school or whatever it is, it's people. So it's being able to overcome that and being able to do what you want to do what makes you happy. And if it's dancing, then well done you. Good choice.
Yeah, good choice. I mean, you would say that to me. It'd be weird if you didn't say that, to be fair, Anton.
Well, it turned all right for me.
Oh, absolutely. Now, and I've just got to say, before I let you go, we do a little quick fire round of questions with every author, like a little this or that game.
Nothing's ever quick with me, but we'll try our best.
All right. Love to hear it. Okay. First up, books or Kindles?
Oh, books.
There you go. Everyone says it straight away. In. Heroes or villains?
Heroes. But then you need a good villain for a hero.
You know what? Yeah, you're the second person to say that to me recently, and I'd never heard it before, but it's true. You do need one to balance out the other, right?
You can't have James Bond without Scaramanga. Otherwise, the hero becomes the villain. Ironically, the hero becomes a sort of villain without the villain, interestingly enough.
Oh my, this is the most philosophical answer I've got to this question, Anton.
Yeah.
I love it. Film adaptation or TV adaptation?
Whichever one can invest the most amount of time. Film always it looks more lush because they spend more money on it. But if you can have a rolling series on television adaptation, like a 6-part series, then invariably I'd give it to television because you can invest more into it.
Okay. Beginnings or endings?
For me, the beginnings are always the most important bit. That's the most important bit for me.
Hogwarts or Narnia?
Narnia.
Laptop or write by hand?
Narrate.
Oh, really? That's quite cool.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. You're the first person to say that. Do you write 9 to 5 or do you write whenever you fancy?
Whenever an idea comes into my head.
Oh, I love that. Paddington Bear or Winnie the Pooh?
Paddington Bear, Paddington Bear, he came from Peru to be with me and you. I love Paddington.
Oh my God, never stop singing to me, Anton. And finally, the last one is the big one. Salt and vinegar or cheese and onion? Think very carefully on this one. This is the one I care the most.
Cheese and onion.
Oh, Anton, no! Really?
Oh, no, I've always been cheese and onion over salt and vinegar. Sometimes I go towards salt and vinegar when I don't fancy. Sometimes the cheese and onion, what they've done with cheese and onion over the years, and I rarely eat crisps anymore, is that they've messed around with it. In the old days, cheese and onion was perfect. And salt and vinegar used to make you go like that. Oh. But salt and vinegar are improving and cheese and onion are going off slightly, but I'm still a cheese and onion man at heart.
Well, you know what? Normally, I obviously would terminate the interview right then and there because I disagree with you on that. But I like the book so much, Anton, that I won't do that. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
I mean, I'll do some research for you. I'll get back onto whether they've balanced out salt and vinegar, cheese and onion. I'll let you know. But thank you so much for chatting to us about Code Name Foxtrot. What a charming man. Honestly, I want to go dancing with Anton Du Beke. Anton, if you're listening, please do teach me how to foxtrot. Right, next up, it's time for friend of the show, Dermot O'Leary. He's going to tell us now about the next book in his World War II adventures. I've just realised there's 2 books about World War II today. This is Dermot O'Leary and Spy Fox and Agent Feathers. I am joined right now by presenter and author Dermot O'Leary, and we've got a brand new book in Dermot's Wartime Stories. It is the Spy Fox and Agent Feathers book. How are you doing, Dermot?
Hello, very well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm dead chuffed to have you on again because I love this kind of adventure series you've got here. You've got animals in World War II basically secretly helping us to win the war, right?
That is exactly it. So that was the starting point. Imagine if animals were fighting on our behalf during the Second World War. And I thought, well, my first sort of starting point was I wanted to write my first adventure was a swift in Wings of Glory, Linus, who signs up for the Royal Bird Force rather than the Royal Air Force. And that went well. I love doing that. And they said, well, what's your next idea? And I've always loved foxes, right? I don't know if you know Fantastic Mr. Fox, one of my favourite books, the Roald Dahl book, such a great book. And I love how clever and cunning and kind of cute they are as well. And so my starting point here was, well, what would a fox be? Well, a fox would almost certainly be a spy. A lot of skullduggery and kind of subterfuge. So I thought, well, the book starts with Charles and his cousin Emmanuel, who are both foxes, and Charles makes it out of Dunkirk, this very famous battle. at the start of the war. He just makes out on the last boat out of Dunkirk, the evacuation of Dunkirk back to the UK. And 3 years later, Charles finds himself languishing in prison because during the Second World War, in this story, the animals are not allowed to eat each other, but Charles cannot stop eating chickens. So they have to lock him up. And then he gets a call one morning from the animal prime minister, Bertie Bulldog. And Bertie says, listen, we need you to come out of prison. We've got a mission for you, which is to go and get these secret plans. These secret plans about the defense of Europe have been discovered. And the German plans, we need an agent to go in, get the plans, decipher the code, and get it back. And we can then let the human beings know about it. And Charles says, well, I'll do it, but I can't decipher code. He says, not a problem. In from Bletchley Park, the famous code-breaking institution, comes Gertrude Featherhorn, the chicken, which Charles is none too happy about. And then they end up forming in a very unlikely bond, and they go off on their mission in France.
They have so many adventures. I have to say, part of me was like, did Dermot just want to do the chicken, fox and grain puzzle in real life as he was writing this book?
It's very good, yeah. Pretty much, yeah. Very funny.
It's kind of what happened. But on this, you've got this mission. They end up in France. I've got to say, it starts, like you say, it starts in Dunkirk. It's an incredible, like, bam, straight away. I was reading it and I was like, oh, we're doing it immediately. And then we travel into France and we have like quite a big adventure with the gang, right?
Absolutely. And, for your listeners, I've obviously taught about the war, but it's a kind of a sensitive thing because the war's a very serious matter. And yet I wanted to try and write an adventure story that appeals to parents and grandparents and their kids, obviously, to try and both teach kids about history, but also write a funny adventure story.
And it is very funny. I don't want to ruin too much, but there is a bit with the chickens in a car at the end, which there's also an amazing illustration that goes with it. And I thought, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to happen.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, no, I mean, you don't mess with the chickens, put it that way. I mean, the sin is kind of a harebrained bunch, but actually when they get going and they mobilise, they can be quite a force.
You also have a little cameo from Linus, who I genuinely went, Linus, because, of course, he was in your first book, in Wings of Glory.
Absolutely. I mean, I really wanted to do that, and I'll carry on doing that with. I'm definitely going to do one more of these, so I'll carry on doing that with the next one as well. I love the idea that all the animals know about each other and about the different services, and Linus, after his exploits in the first book, is a very famous fighter pilot, really. So it was great. It was great to kind of just pepper him in.
You've got Bertie Bulldog there as well, who is the Prime Minister. Was it quite fun to imagine what animals would have had, like what different roles they would have done in this situation?
Absolutely. And I love the fact that Bertie's kind of he's not like a genius. He's a bit of a buffoon, Bertie, a very sort of pompous and, very sort of Churchillian, basically. And yeah, he's a lot. I need to expand on him because he's a lot of fun to write. Were
you also quite hungry when you wrote the book? Because there's a lot of references to food here, Dermot.
I've not thought about that, but yeah, probably subliminally. I was right in the morning, so that the last hour leading up before lunch, I'd probably end up peppering quite a lot of stuff in there. Don't mention pepper.
Yeah, oh my goodness, you're doing it already. Charles and Emmanuel are really fun characters as well. It must have been quite nice to write about the cousins and like the kind of different journey they go on, but the fact they kind of get together and they do save the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And Emmanuel briefly features in the first book as well, as part of the French resistance further down the line. So that was really good fun to going to revisit those two. And I love this kind of the buddy of it. Yeah. So, I mean, and the fact that I wanted to, like you said, I wanted to hit the ground running, and obviously Dunkirk's such an important moment in the nation's history that I thought just to start it there, and these two foxes and trying to exist and trying to survive around all this carnage and human carnage happening. And they're still trying to, get out with their lives intact as well.
You've also got the kind of human story running through as well. You've got a kind of, almost like in the background, you've got actual humans who are also living through it all too.
Yeah, that was important because I wanted to have that kind of, it kind of roots the historical context of it. So there's always I wanted that human story to kind of contextualize actually what was happening, and this part of history was real. And also I love the tag. We did this in the first book as well, Wings of Glory. I love the fact that unbeknownst to those humans, the animals are genuinely saving their lives. But they, every now and again, they'll see something that they can't quite believe and then just shake it off as like, I haven't got enough sleep today or something like that.
Yeah, I love the idea that the animals, let's face it, are saving the day. The humans think they're much more important than they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically like the world.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I do have a very scientific quiz for you. I wondered if you would indulge me in it right now, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. So,
yeah, thank you.
Scientific is probably not my favourite word, but yeah.
Well, this quiz is more, I want to find out if you personally are more fox or chicken.
Oh, good. Brilliant.
So just a very, very simple few questions, Dermot, to really get a feel for whether you are crafty like a fox or king of the coop.
Oh, lovely.
I wanted to know, would you rather chase after a baddie or carefully figure out where you can catch them?
Oh, chase after a baddie.
You chase them like, okay, chase after. Would you rather have special hearing or special sight?
Special sight.
Interesting. Okay. Would you rather be better at remembering where you've stored your food or remembering people's faces?
Oh, I would say people's faces, but I think after what we've just talked about, probably storing my food.
And finally, and these are all genuine facts about foxes and chickens, by the way, would you rather clean yourself by licking everywhere or rolling in dirt?
Oh, licking everywhere, I think.
Okay, well, according to my very scientific and definitely factually correct quiz, Dermot, you are more Foxy Spy Fox.
Oh, excellent.
So I'll be your Agent Feathers, you can be Spy Fox, we'll go on some adventures.
Perfect, I love the sound of that.
Because I'm definitely, like chicken, I'd rather roll in dirt.
More chicken.
Yeah, to be honest, I'd be happy to remembering faces and rolling in dirt. Dermot, thank you so much for telling us about Spy Fox and Agent Feathers. I'm so excited to see where the next story leads us to. And yeah, like you said, there's one more left in the book, is that right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, hopefully I'll do more, but definitely got one more. And then I've got another Toto that's on the way. I'm going to write the next Toto this year.
We've got another Toto?
Yeah.
That's
what I'm going to do next.
Oh my god. All right, Dermot. Well, we're going to get you in the studio to talk about that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Genuinely love that series as well. Dermot, I know you're super, super busy, so thank you for taking time out to chat to us and hopefully see you soon.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Two excellent people there, Anton Du Beke and Dermot O'Leary here on Fun Kids in the Bookworms podcast. Hey, that was a big old episode, wasn't it? And of course, we've got loads more authors that you can listen to. If you just scroll back in your podcast app, you can look at all of the other brilliant people we've chatted to recently about their brand new books. In the meantime, remember to like, subscribe and follow wherever it is you get your podcast from. I'll be back super soon. Bye!